Hey, let's dig a hole. That's right, there's a game that lets you dig a hole without physically having to go outside. Pretty neat, huh? So here I am, just wandering the street, reading a newspaper in 2025, when a truck stops across the street. A one-legged man steps out, draws a line in his notebook, and puts up a poster. A house for sale for $10,000. With gold treasure in the garden. Buy now and get rich? Only an absolute idiot would pass on such an opportunity. What a nice backyard. Can't wait to f it up with a huge hole in the ground. Super Mega Digger 3000 Ultimate 2.0. Explodes when battery gets empty. A shovel with a battery? The technology is evolving so fast these days, it's scary. I ignored my new house and rest of the property and ran straight onto the grass. Someone had already marked the spot, like they wanted me to find the hidden gold, which was very nice of them. But first, I wanted to see if there's anything useful in the shed. Save game was very ominous, implying the possibility of losing progress, and the existence of a health bar only added to the anxiety. The workbench provided upgrades and purchases. More tools, a big box, a not-so-subtle ad for another game. Hey, I respect the hustle. And lastly, a Pentium 1 computer that let me sell ores. It was time to make some cold, hard cash. I found my first stone, second stone, third stone. I could only fit 3 stones in my backpack before I had to return to sell them. $3 was not bad for a minute's work. By this point in the game, I was yearning for an auto-clicker, but tabbing out of the game and setting it up is a whole thing, and I'm not about doing things. Low battery sign wasn't enough to deter me, so I continued digging until the battery became critical. And even then, I just couldn't stop. There was an ore staring at me right there. You lost your ores. I was instantly punished for my greed. I went to check if I had maybe dropped the ores, but alas, they had dematerialized from this realm. My lousy shovel battery had run out once again and I returned to charge it. I was down to a single buck, which isn't actually that bad considering today's economy. 3 more stones and I was forced to return once again. I healed myself using the woodworking tools at the workbench. Much better. I continued my digging expedition until I had enough money to purchase my first upgrade. Look at this wide boy. I put my new instrument to use and shortly after received a piece of coal, which indicated I was making progress. 2 more rounds and I was able to afford a bigger backpack. My goal was to dig an aesthetically pleasing hole. Keyword being aesthetically. Soon enough I came across my first chunk of iron, meaning I was about to swim in cash. Fast forward a couple minutes of computer mouse abuse and my spiral tunnel was starting to take shape. I kept going at it until the radar I didn't know existed suddenly detected an object. Oh, how excited I was to dig up something that isn't a rock. There it was, something green. Oh, a money bag with 24 money. Kind of a kick in the nuts, but at least it let me know there's more down here than just plain old rocks. I decided to invest in a lamp and an even bigger shovel. Just as my homie 50 Cent once said, get rich or die trying, I too decided to dig deeper to find either the promised riches or death. I found copper instead. Not long after, the battery dropped to critical levels and the game reminded me of the existence of the jetpack. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, this game has a jetpack that drains energy. I paid my stupid tax and slid down my muddy hole to continue digging. I could barely do any labor when this happened. There was a hole inside my hole, which kinda ruined my plan for an elegant spiral type tunnel, which in hindsight was pretty silly to begin with. I placed a lamp to illuminate the area and began widening the hole beneath me. Dropping down, I could see many ores in the area. The potential profits completely clouded any suspicions as to why these tunnels were so perfectly round. I saw a shiny new rock and lo and behold, I had found silver. The area was cleared out within a minute and it was time to head back for a payday. This was an opportunity for me to learn 2 things. 1, how to use a jetpack, and 2, why a spiral hole in this case was a horrible idea. Cha-ching! Couple more upgrades and I was feeling pretty good about my backyard mining operation. This time I descended a little too fast and suffered fall damage, losing about 4% of my health. At the depth of 20 meters, I came across an unbreakable rock. Or so it thought. Got him! A few shovel stabbings at the blast site and another tunnel cave thingy revealed itself. A piece of wood in an underground cave caught me off guard, pulling me deeper into the game. I was hungry for lore. I wanted answers. I spent a good amount of time clearing everything around the wood, ultimately finding out it was all for naught. A second kick in the nuts. I filled my backpack with 15 chunks of ore, flew out of the hole in the ground, sold the ore on my 18th century PC and bought a new shovel, which looked an awful lot like the one pizza chefs use. I was so excited to try out my new shovel that I accidentally wrecked my lamp, but I didn't need light to guide my path, for I had instinct, and soon enough I struck gold, like literally. Not long after, I found yet another tunnel. I made it down into the tunnel, and despite looking spookier than the other ones so far, it had nothing of interest. I set myself a new goal, to dig as deep as I possibly could. I came across another unshovelable rock of significant size. Unfortunately, I had no explosives with me, other than the battery in my shovel, which I suspect isn't powerful enough to destroy rocks. However, it was capable of blowing off my fingers, so I went for a recharge and at the same time upgraded my shovel to a drill. Digging a virtual hole had me so entranced that I had forgotten to save the game for over 30 minutes. I hopped right back in and used my fancy new drill to widen the hole to allow for more convenient jetpack usage. Vertically, I had reached the depth of 66 meters. I was regularly finding platinum and diamonds. As I was exploring another tunnel, my money detector lit up. A minute of digging and a mild burn later, there it was. 376 monies. For a second there I thought this was a good yield, until I sold the diamonds and realized that money bag had been placed there for the sole purpose of taunting me. As a response, I stocked up on supplies and bought the largest civilian drill available. This bad boy was going to get me all the way to China, or whatever country is on the opposite side of where this game takes place. I don't know what possessed me next, but I decided to dig a brand new hole, which actually ended up working out in my favor. I found a key. Granted, I didn't know what it was for, but I sure was excited to find out. I was relentless in my mission to get my money up. My hole had so many diamonds in it, I was able to completely max out my mining gear. As I was saving the game, I noticed instructions in the book on how to correctly dig a hole. There were also a couple of pages missing, which ultimately means less reading, and I'm okay with that. I decided to check out the garage for anything new, and by accident, I had found a use for the key. But it wasn't enough. A second key was needed to open the box. I looked around to see if there was anything else I had missed, but I was met with disappointment. I returned to the hole and carried on with drilling. I was nearing 100 meters in depth when something peculiar happened. The lamp malfunctioned and turned off, which I'm pretty sure isn't supposed to happen to a brand new lamp. I continued downward in search of the cause, and soon enough, a larger tunnel appeared. Ignoring every instinct, I descended. The roars from further away were scary, but not nearly as scary as grocery prices. Besides, I had my jetpack to bail me out in case shit hits the fan. I proceeded forward, curious to see what creature lurks below my newly bought property. It was a giant mole. The animal, not the skin thing. I ran for my life and made it back to the safety of the hole. Then I remembered. I have dynamite, but of course, barbecue mole wasn't on today's menu. I took a quick trip back to heal and restock on supplies that I wasn't even allowed to use anymore. Any sensible person would have called the local authorities or pest control to deal with this issue, but that would require a phone call, so really I was left with no other choice. I noticed another tunnel and beelined straight for it, hoping the blind mammal wouldn't notice me. I ran as fast as I could, The tunnel was narrow enough to stop the thick mole from chasing me into the next room, which had 2 of these genetic freaks. One of them instantly charged me like I owed it money, but luckily my epic gamer instincts kicked in. Over the course of my long gaming career, I've had to carry countless noobs by expertly kiting enemies, while my companions respawned or resurrected each other. In this case, all it took was a little loop-de-loop, and I had absolutely outplayed and outsmarted the mole's AI. I had made it to yet another tunnel, and despite carrying loads of equipment, I was able to shake off the angry mole. The tunnel led to a huge room that had something glowing in the distance. I walked toward it, cautiously, scanning my surroundings for potential threats. I reached what looked like a treasure chest and opened it. The chest was empty, and then it hit me. The real treasure was the moles we found along the way. And so I died, but not really. They did put my house back on sale, which was pretty rude and probably illegal. Turns out it was all an intricate ploy orchestrated by the giant moles to eat people. If you ask me, there's easier ways to gain access to human flesh, but hey, if it works, it works. The game might have been done with me, but I certainly wasn't done with the game. There was still a key to be found, and so I continued digging. My initial goal was to clear out the entire hole, but after 15 minutes I deemed my time is better spent elsewhere. I went underground and through random chance managed to find the key quite quickly. The moment of truth. A stronger dynamite that does not kill moles, and a teleporter, which I thought was pretty cool until I found out it was just a one-time consumable. A third and final kick in the nuts. I tried to get into my house, but the dynamite wouldn't take down the door. I gotta hand it to the moles, they know their construction. There was one last thing left to try. Since my first encounter with the giant moles was absolutely flawless, I wanted to go check out what happens when they catch you. Turns out you just die. So remember, next time you dig a hole in your backyard, make sure you don't dig too deep, otherwise evil mole men will eat you. Thank you for watching me dig a virtual hole.